Oh, look at us. Who would have
Look
thought
at
it?
us. Who would
Who
have
would have thought it?
thought that we'd be here right now doing this?
Not me. Not me.
Not
But here
me.
we are.
Okay, Tyra,
Nevertheless,
what are we doing? What is this?
let's get into it. Welcome, everybody, to Top 5, a Heated Rivalry podcast.
I remember the reason why I'm laughing is because this is ridiculous, but the reason why I'm laughing is because I remember back when the finale aired. And I was like, this is insane. Why is this show so good? Because one, we live on opposite sides of the world. I live in the Netherlands, you live in Maryland. And so I would be up at 6 a.m. before work watching. You'd be up at midnight. And I
Yeah.
remember being like, oh my gosh, this show is going to like ruin our lives. And you were like, no, I think we're just going to like talk about it for the next 2 weeks and then we're going to move on
Is that
and it's
what
going
I
to be
said?
fine. You did. You did. And babe,
Played
we now,
myself. One
babe,
thing
we
I
have a
never like to
podcast
do.
now. We have a podcast
Girl,
now. This is silly.
listen.
So,
One thing I never like to do is play myself, but apparently have been played.
so what is this?
But
What is top 5? What is the
let's
podcast?
talk about it. So top 5, I think the idea is rooted in two things. First of all, as Nicole talked about, we thought that we were going to be over this. It was going to be a distant memory and something that we would never revisit. Guess what? 4 months later, we're still here. And so I remember after us watching the entire season, we were like bereft. We were like, what else do we do? What else do we talk about? Best thing to do, let's figure out our top 10 list of like scenes that we love. So we took all day. And again, like Nicole said, we are on a 6-hour time difference. So like figuring out how to coordinate that was one thing. And then we're like arguing back and forth about our top 10 and why we like this and why we like that. And I think what really was beautiful about it is that within that conversation, like some things on each of our lists changed just based off of the thoughts that we had, the analysis that we had. And I think the second thing this is rooted in is because of everyone in the fandom. Like there were so many thoughts, there were so many ideas, so many like analyses that we saw, and it was like, this is really interesting. But also like things that we thought that we didn't see anywhere. And just like, I can't believe people are not talking about this. Like, this is the moment.
People kept noticing. And
They
that was
kept
ruining my
noticing
life. Like,
and
I was just
continue
like,
to notice.
I need people to stop noticing because
Yeah. And continue to notice. And so we thought, like, what better way? Let's bring back the categories of like moments in the in the universe of Heated Rivalry, and let's just do 5 of them because, of course, let's make it hard on ourselves. We like torture.
Yeah,
we're a little bit
exactly.
masochistic in that way.
No, and making these lists was actually pretty tough. I would say the first one, I mean, we got there, but it's been hard because, as you said, every day I feel like we kind of can change what our order is or like the scenes or the moments that are on there. So the first top 5 is pretty tough, I'll be honest, because we kind of kept it open-ended, and it is the top 5 moments that got us to the cottage.
What got us to the sunset?
I think there are obvious ones, obviously, that are going to get us there that really pushed Shane and Ilya to the beloved episode 6. But I think there are moments that aren't talked about enough that between Shane and Ilya's history and things that had to kind of happen on their own personal journeys outside of being Shane and Ilya the couple, that really led them to being brave and like deciding to choose each other and to explore what that could be.
And these are like these pivotal touchstone moments, right? The moments that like really change the trajectory and course of your life and really lead you to that happy ending. And so should we just get into it? Should we just get into it?
Let's do number 5. What is number 5, please?
Okay, so kicking it off at number 5, the pivotal event, we have Ilya's father's death. Like this in episode 5, when Ilya gets that call from Alexei, who he had been dodging calls from for God knows how long. That man could have been dead for months. Ilya just was not taking anybody's call.
For months.
I mean, girl, that man did not want to talk to Alexei.
No.
Um, but this was such a pivotal moment for me because this was Ilya's real break from Russia and from his family.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
for me, I don't think you really get Ilya completely um excommunicating himself from that family, just not wanting to be a part of it, not ever wanting to go to Russia if his father's not dead and he loses that connection to the
Mhm.
place and his land. Because I do think, as much as Ilya wanted to get away from Russia, there is love there. There's love for Russia. There's love for his father. There's love for his family, no matter how twisted and distorted that relationship was and how unhealthy it ultimately was. Um, you still it's really hard to let go of family.
Yeah.
And and without that, do we get him actually really trying to make a real future with Shane? Because as we see in episode 5, at the end of that, he is packing up to go back home.
Mhm. Yeah.
He's packing up to go back to Russia, and you know,
Yeah.
there's still this pull, this connection that he feels for Shane, of course. But if you still have that connection to family, especially for someone who's lost one parent, and then you're
Mhm.
actively choosing to break away from another, I don't know if Ilya would have been strong enough to do that had his father not
Yeah.
do that. And then that fight with Alexei, which I think really was another blow up moment.
Yeah, I agree. I think Ilya even kind of mentions this in the hotel scene in episode 5, right? That like he never
Yeah,
fully answers Shane's question about if we could be together, would you want to? But he does give a reason as to why potentially this couldn't happen, and it's because of his family and his ties, and obviously to Russia, and what it would mean to be fully out as a bisexual man, and also the fact that his father is very conservative and is a police officer and is also very sick at this moment. And so, even if the family ties aren't that strong, they still mean an awful lot to Ilya. And that just says a lot about who he is. And then also, yeah, to the fact that if his father were still alive when potentially the end of episode 5 happened, I mean, does he fully make that decision? Because he would be
yeah,
going back to Russia, as we saw even in episode 4. He was taking care of his father, and in episode 5, he mentions during the the Russian
monologue.
monologue, right, that like he feels guilty that he has not been able to be there for his father in that way. And so you can tell, even though his father has brought a lot of turmoil and trauma, and hasn't been maybe the most positive figure in his life, he still means a lot. And that family in
Yeah,
general, I would say culturally, means a lot to
yeah.
Ilya. So
And
I agree.
and it does really show that Ilya's still trying to hold out hope, right? That things will change and can change.
Hmm.
Because at his core he is a hopeful character, in a similar way that Shane is. And where he says in that Russian monologue also, I want him to know me. It's one thing to like, try to figure out, can I make this relationship better with this person by any
Hmm.
means necessary? It's another way to say, can I make this relationship better and then fully be myself in that process?
Mm.
And maybe, a change can happen with his father, with his brother. But ultimately, once his father dies, it's sort of the end of that hope, I think, and also just the end of that childhood dream that things can and will be different.
Yeah, agree. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's a big moment, honestly. And number 5 is
Yeah.
like us being great. Like I think in maybe other shows this would be 2 or 1, but it had to be on the list, I think, in general.
It had to be on the list. For some people it might not even be on the list. It might not register, like, especially this
Mhm.
being a romance show, I can see people being like, well, love prevails and love conquers all. But if we're putting a little bit of realism into it, if love was the only thing that mattered in a relationship, we all would be with that person that we blocked their calls long ago.
Mm,
But we blocked their calls for a
preach.
reason. Don't call that man.
No situationship is ever gonna be this. I need everyone to get real with themselves quickly, quickly, actually.
Never. Your
Okay, let's move
13-year
on.
situationship.
Let's move on to number 4, which might be a little more obvious. it might be higher up on people's lists, to be honest. But number 4 is Shane and Rose dinner scene.
I think.
Hey, you don't owe me any explanation.
I feel like I kind of do.
You really don't. Can I ask if you've ever been with another guy? Have you ever told anyone that before?
And there's
Yeah.
just so much to say about
Well,
this
let's say
scene.
it.
I mean, I agree. This is a scene for me that on first watch, because I don't think this was in the books in the same way, right? Like I
Not at
don't
all.
remember it.
Very
No.
short scene. Yeah.
Yeah, and I just remember watching this and I had to pause because like even now I'm a little speechless about it. Because I wasn't expecting this to happen in this way. And I think Hudson Williams played the discovery of the scene in the way that we were discovering
So
what the scene was
beautifully.
going to be about in such a beautiful way. And obviously, the Shane before the scene and the Shane after the scene are almost two totally different people. I mean, you do not get the cottage without the more confident Shane who has realized who he truly is and is trying to one figure out what that means in regards to his
Yeah.
relationship with Ilya, which she says as much and to Rose that like I need to figure things out. And so you do not get that Tampa bar scene. You do not get that hotel scene, which we'll talk about later, spoiler. And you do not get the invitation of Ilya into his private life, which means so much to Shane, if you didn't have that moment with Rose.
Yeah.
Which I've been thinking about this scene a lot, and I was the more that I was just thinking about the setting of it, like I was actually surprised that Rose, and curious to know your thoughts, did this in a very public place where they're both public figures, and having Shane discover something so private about himself, or at least come to terms with something so private about himself.
Yeah. It was interesting because in the book, I feel like that setting feels more natural just because that scene feels very throwaway in the book. Like it's very quick, it's very short, but I feel like on
Yeah.
the show there's so much nuance and there's so much kindness and grace that Sophie Nalise's character has given Shane. And like you said, Hudson just plays it so beautifully. There's such a heartbreak to it, but a sense of hope because, freedom isn't free, right? Like there's a
Mm,
price that has to be paid for discovering who you are and living in that truth. And right now he's in the moment of like really self acceptance and also having someone who he admires and cares about accepting him. So if she
mhm,
can, then other people can. And this,
mhm,
like you said, this hope like leads to that great hotel scene in episode 5. And just his acceptance of himself and stepping into that bravery and, you know,
mhm.
really being the one who's starting the catalyst of this relationship with him and Ilya being a real thing or being something that's sustainable and not just a fling. Um, but I'm interested to hear your thoughts about this. So why do you think that it was such a change from the book? Why do you think that Rose is introduced to someone who is just so understanding? Is it just easier to
Mm,
shepherd Shane into that feeling of being comfortable in sexuality? Is it a bunch of other things? Because I do feel like this
mhm.
feels more natural of a friendship that we know later develops in the books as well. But this feels more natural and this feels more grounded in story.
It does feel more grounded. Um, I think the thing that I loved about it is that you could tell that at a basic level, Rose really cares about Shane. Like,
Yeah.
outside of, this may be my romantic partner or my boyfriend at the time, or I can see a future for us, she
Yeah.
puts all of that aside because she notices that something else might be going on and that Shane may need help getting to that place, right, of honesty. And that it, to me, I think as an audience, we needed to see that moment more than maybe. I mean, I would have loved to have read it, but I don't think
Yeah.
um, it would have come off in the same way as like seeing the way that even Rose, I mean, you saw her journey from the beginning of the scene where she's just like, oh my God, like, do gay people exist in hockey? And like just trying to like banter and chit chat. And then it gets to a
Yeah.
place where she's like, okay, he's not. And as we know, Shane does not get the subtext of it all. Like, you need to be very upfront with what we're doing right now. And you could
Right.
see even her own, like, Sophie played it so well, where it's like, she's like, okay, this isn't coming off the way I thought it was going to come off. I just need to get straight to the point of like why I want to come out and like have this conversation with you. And I can just like, I can't even like talk about it, like, because it is, but you could just see the way that Hudson plays it, where he's getting choked up and he's like, talk about what? Like,
Yeah.
and there's like this sense of panic. And I just love the fact that in the show, for maybe the first time, Shane is given the space to be, or given the invitation, I will say, to be completely honest and open about who he
About
is.
himself.
His entire life, he's had to like play to this expectation of who he is as a hockey player, and to play to his expectation of who he is as like a half Asian Canadian man, and to play into this perfection of what Shane Hollander is. And I just love the fact that the show, and Jacob, kudos, because every female character in the show was just like a beautiful,
Amazing.
yeah,
Amazing.
like just
The
and
best
so
person.
I feel like he needed the space from someone who wasn't maybe romantically, or Ilya, I guess, so to
Yeah.
speak,
Yeah.
um to just like, hey, what's
Yeah.
going on? Who
Yeah.
are you? Like, I'm here for you. I'm supportive of you.
Giving him the
This moment is
space.
for you, and less of this dramatics of like, how could you? And
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
where I think a
Oh, for
lot of
sure.
shows would have taken it. And I
For
think it was
sure.
important to see that, because you were able to have Shane, given the patience in a moment to truly reflect and understand what this moment meant, and then also him being brave enough to even admit it, because I think a lot of shows, maybe that wouldn't have been the case, or books.
I agree.
um
I agree. I do think a lot of shows and books would have steered away from that. Because I also don't even know if shows will go into like Rose just even like trying to like eke that out of him. Maybe it just ends at
mhm
like Rose breaking up with him and that's the end of it. But I do think what's really beautiful is that she gives him a gift of telling him it's okay,
Yes.
because
Oh my
this is
God.
the thing that has not felt okay in his life, but it's the only thing that makes sense to him,
Mm,
or one of the
yeah.
very few outside of hockey that really makes sense to him. And
Mhm.
we see it later. It's even something that comes up in episode 6 when he's talking to his mother and he's like, I'm sorry, I couldn't help it. And it's like
Mhm.
this theme of like my sexuality, me loving who I love is not okay. And Rose just gives him that validation saying,
Mhm.
it is okay. It's not something that needs to be fixed. It's not a problem. You are not something that needs to
Yes.
be fixed. And I think
Oh,
that's really such a beautiful and just
yeah.
something we all need to hear. It's so
That
good.
line, when I heard that line for the first time, like, this you don't need, like, this isn't something that needs to be fixed. That's when I think I just became a
Yeah.
puddle, because
Yeah.
it was just
Yeah.
like, that
Yeah.
is, like, Shane needed to hear. I think we all need to hear that, but Shane particularly needed to hear that. And Rose, I mean, what a well-written scene. We could talk about this scene for
But we're
hours, but I
but we're
do
not gonna
want to
do
move on
that.
to number
And
3,
let's talk about
because
number 3. Let's talk about it.
okay,
And
so Tyra, what is it?
and
Because
and
I mean, this is where
especially
I think we're getting to like,
I think so. Well, on the back of like, nothing being okay in Shane's world and feeling like everything is going to blow up. let's talk about what our third thing is, and that's going to be Tuna Meltdown, Tuna Gate, the great tuna debate of 2014, where everything imploded, and just blew up. And this was the moment, right? This was the moment when when the show went to stratosphere levels. Like it was an
Yeah.
amazing show. Episode 1 through 3, episode 4 kind of changed the axis of what this show was and what it did. And
Mm-hmm.
Tuna Gate, like this is the moment where Shane and Ilya are having real intimacy for the first time. A really like domestic, beautiful afternoon, and one that like from the beginning I was surprised that Shane agreed to. But he does because this is something that he really wants to do. And I guess this is something we can talk about a little bit, but like Ilya even suggesting it, like what was the turning point for him to be like, I want to stop pretending or playing that I don't love this man
Like,
or I don't want to
what?
be with him. Like, where did that come from?
I
First of
still
all,
wonder that, by the way. I still
yeah,
am like, all of a sudden, you just
it
want him to
felt like
stay the
that, didn't
night,
it?
babe. What?
It felt like that. And it's such a great change from the book that this also would coincide with this being the first time that Shane is in Ilya's home. Like the first time
Yeah.
he's in Ilya's space. And when he gets
Mm-hmm.
there, it feels foreign to Shane.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
feelings feel so real. And Ilya, he's doing the Ilya thing on that couch. He's giving like a couple of mixed messages, mixed signals, and he does that because he wants to like check where Shane's temperature is at. And I always say, I talk about this all the time with Nicole, is that Ilya's greatest weapon against Shane is jealousy. He likes to pull it out of Shane, like the jealous
He's
nature. It's
such
so
a menace.
annoying.
I can't. He's
He's
such a
a
menace.
troll. He's a class
He's
A
such a
troll.
menace. But you know
But
what? I want to go back to the beginning of that scene because the thing, I mean, we've watched this scene 20 million times, but
yeah,
the thing that always clues me in to Ilya being nervous is two things. One, when he's walking to the door and he's slicking back his hair and it's just like trying to get right for his man. But then
yeah.
also when Shane asks him, should I take off my shoes? And he says no.
Now we don't
What?
want this to be too long, but the amount of like voice notes and chats that me and Nicole had back and forth when we saw that, not this Slavic ass man, first of all, telling this Asian man, no, he doesn't have to take off the shoes, and not this Asian man coming to somebody's house and asking if he has to take these shoes off. You know, you got to take those damn shoes off.
I
Go ahead,
said,
continue, Nicole. I'm sorry. Continue.
no, because that bothered me a lot. It bothered me so much that if Kat is ever watching this, who's one of my friends who loves the show as well, and she's
Hey, Kat.
Canadian from Niagara on the Lake, and I had to message her immediately, and I was like, "Girl, in Canada, do y'all take off y'all shoes at the door because this is crazy?" And she was like, "Of course." Like, I'm sorry. I thought that was crazy, especially because Ilya's first like thought was like, "No, we're not talking. We'll do that later." So you're trying to obviously get this man in your bed. Have him take off his shoes. You know Shane wants to take off his shoes.
He said, track whatever you want in this house, baby. You're here never to leave.
This
Look, go ahead.
disgusted me. But either way, I digress. You could tell from the first moment that Ilya was like had a lot, and obviously Rachel she talked about this after, where she was like, this is what was going through Ilya's mind and blah blah blah. But I thought the show did a really good job of portraying the nervousness energy of Ilya that honestly, if you didn't read the book or read Rachel Reed's blog or Instagram, maybe you wouldn't have gotten that off the like first viewing.
Right. Yeah.
But you can already tell things were different from the moment that scene started, and even the ways in which they were intimate in that moment, right? Because they were like face to face for the first time in that way. And in the book,
Yeah.
Ilya's very explicit about like, I want it to be this way this time, which again,
Yeah.
like they don't necessarily explain, but Ilya's throwing all of these like moments at Shane throughout this entire scene, which are like things that Shane would love to happen. It's not that he doesn't like it, it's just that he likes it too much. And it's like,
Mhm.
wait, this isn't supposed to be happening. I don't understand
And can
why
you find
this
a
is
way?
going
And can
on.
you find a way forward though? Like, say he does, like, say you actually fully accept this, what's the way forward? And Shane
Yeah.
can't see that, like, and it just feels too much. It feels like, and we already know that he's already in too deep, but it feels like a step too far. When we are calling each other by our first names at that point, all objectivity has gone out the window. We can no longer pretend that this isn't something that it is.
Mm-hmm.
So, and to be honest, I would too. I mean, running just feels like the more sensible choice to make in that moment.
Well, yeah.
After the past, what are we in year 7 at this point?
Not only that, but after the past 30 minutes where Ilya is talking to me about girls and like literally like comparing me, like if I'm Shane, the way that Ilya is talking about girls, right? It's in
Yeah.
the way that's like, oh yeah, like we hook up and like, my best friend, like we're not girlfriend and boyfriend, but it's nice to have this girl around and like she
Yeah.
loves hockey the way you love hockey and like basically y'all are the same and like I just love the fact that y'all are on my roster. Like that is what this comes off as because
Yeah.
Ilya does not know how to communicate properly, and neither does Shane.
And
So
neither does Shane.
it's
And
terrible.
the fact that Ilya is bisexual is an insecurity for Shane because it's just like you can have
Yeah.
an easier life with someone else. Like you don't have to think about, hooking up with your rival or being in a relationship with your rival. And we're two men in
Hmm.
a field that is
Yeah.
homophobic to say the least, or appears that way. Like
Yeah.
you
You
could
could
have
just
a great
go
life
be with
with
another
Svetlana, who
man somewhere, or like
right.
Shane could be with another man that
Shane could be with
isn't this.
another man that isn't this. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's
So
just
Ilya was just throwing different things out there, and then poor
as
Shane
he
is having
does.
to, I thought Shane was on a microbiotic diet and he's eating a tuna bread. And I'm just like, oh,
The
babe,
way
I just feel
I
so
kept thinking
bad.
about the way I kept like doing calculations in my head because I'm like, wait a minute. Shane is spending the night. Ilya said he's not done with him. That man just had cheese, mayonnaise, and tuna.
Ugh.
I'm just saying. What are we doing, kids? What are we doing?
I just think in general, shut up. First of all, I just understood what you were talking about.
It's fine.
I
We'll move on.
I just think in general, like I'm not like Shane in this episode, period. It's interesting. Obviously, everyone has talked about the ginger ale of it all, that Illy's the only one who offers him it and like wants him to enjoy it and be comfortable. But then also, you see Shane like in the club scene, like drinking and like yeah, eating this like probably not great tuna melt. I mean, who knows? And
Tuna Melt ever good?
just like being faced with a lot of uncomfortable, unfamiliar situations.
For someone
And
who needs order and structure and is very
correct.
regimented in the way that they live life.
And I
Yeah.
feel that completely, but I think the tuna meltdown in general was just like so significant, right? Because here we are, Ilya would have been comfortable having Shane spend the night, then being more intimate, but then that's all that is. Like the next time we get together, maybe I'll spend the night at Shane's or in the hotel, and then we'll be
Yeah.
intimate, and then I'll go home. And like Shane leaving pushed Ilya into like actually having to confront his feelings and like understand that
Mm-hmm.
like, wait, if Shane were to leave my life right now, if he were to get with Rose and like be engaged to her, how would I feel about that? And you saw him, I thought Connor Story played this so well. You saw him spiraling in a very controlled way where you're seeing him like having to actually be and maybe not verbally obviously admit his feelings, but it's the first time you're seeing Ilya really having to like think about what Shane
Contend with.
means to him and maybe how he could have been the catalyst for Shane never coming back,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
like a
And
lot.
we know Ilya is great at compartmentalizing and, that veneer breaks. And he's had a hell of a day. He already had a call from Russia about with his father in that
Yeah.
situation. And then for the way Shane to leave and the way that he looks, the way that Connor looks, the look on his face when Shane leaves is
Oh,
so heartbreaking and so
so
beautiful
good.
and
It's so
such
good.
good acting because you can see everything on his face and he really does feel like this is
Hmm.
the end. And another thing that he's fucked up.
Hmm.
Um
Well,
and
wait. If we're going to talk about acting real quick, because we've talked about this a lot, this scene was the scene for me for both Hudson and Connor, where I was just like, I'm obsessed with them visually as actors because I'm listening and obviously understanding what's going on, but seeing Connor doing the
play with
the
the ear.
ear, oh my God, playing with the ear,
So
and
good.
then Hudson, you can see the panic, like his internal acting. Like
Mhm.
I had to rewind. Oh my God, how old am I? I
Mhm.
had to go back a few times because I was just like, wait, this scene is so visually interesting. As actors, you could just like the choices, like I just
Yeah.
love acting choices and I
Yes.
love just being able to see a scene and being like, okay, this is clearly a comfortable space for Ilya. He's like
Mhm.
hands in his pocket or pants, we still don't know. He's like playing with his ear, he's like leaning up against his like couch, and then you see Shane leaning up,
Up.
because
Very
this is
rigid,
not
very
his
stiff. That is not comfortable.
looking
Yeah.
around, like
Yeah.
kind of just like breathing. And I was just like,
It's
I
so good.
love these
And
choices so
I
much.
agree. This is the last thing I'll say about it. The acting choices are amazing, but this is, you can tell the quality of actors that they are, but how lived in they were to these characters, how much they
Yeah.
like lived, breathed them. And it's crazy for such a short like shooting schedule too. I believe they only shot for 2 months and
Hmm.
had maybe three
Less
weeks
than
of prep.
that.
Maybe 3 weeks of prep, 2 months of filming, or maybe less. But like they were locked into their characters and who these people were, and it felt
Hmm.
so real and lived in. I think that's another thing that we constantly talked about this show is that it
Hmm.
feels real and lived in. So with that, let's go to number 2 on our list. Nicole, what do we got?
Ugh, what do we have? I was just looking. Oh my God. Oh, my scene. Okay.
I
Okay.
seen, guys.
Oh, this was my girl.
Yeah, I love
Okay.
it.
So, I mean, the hotel scene in episode 5. What can we say about this? Particularly
Perfect.
because
Perfect.
we
Wonderful.
were like, okay, this scene does a lot, right? And that is kudos to Jacob and the acting and the writing. But particularly what this scene does in the road to the cottage is it's our first time as viewers seeing Ilya so vulnerable. And for that, for me, we have Shane to thank,
Yeah.
because he comes in and has a mission.
This looks serious.
It's not. I mean, yeah, I guess. Can you just sit down or something?
Of this may be the only moment I get with Ilya. Who knows, right? Like we're about to go back to our seasons. We haven't been connected in the last few months. I have to get out. Obviously, I had my scene with like my scene. I just had my moment with
Yeah.
Rose, and like I'm feeling comfortable in who I am, and like I just need to get this out. And I think the dynamics of this scene is so well done because it starts off as like Shane being the vulnerable one and being like, I know you feel this too. Like, I like you so much. I would you want to be together if we could be together? Like him just really spilling his heart out. And that
Mhm.
leads to Ilya feeling safe enough to be honest with him about, okay, well, this is why I don't think we can be together. And this is like the blocker for me. And this is what's going on in my own life. And like, this may be the first time we're seeing Ilya actually saying these things out loud to someone to the point where he's getting emotional.
Yeah.
And we're seeing Shane and Ilya's dynamic change within this one scene from just like sex and something physical and
To real
something
intimacy.
unspoken to an intimacy that really you can't come back from. And I don't think we get to the cottage without this quiet moment we had with them. And I think Jacob did such a good job of honestly being really word for word almost from the book, but the emotions and vulnerability that we see on screen is so different than when I read the scene in the book. Like in the book at
It
the end of it, when he's saying like, I think at the end, like Shane gets in Ilya's lap and then Ilya, and then they just have like a, oh, you're beautiful or something kind of moment.
yeah.
But for it to be him getting in his lap to soothe him and be like, it's okay. And like, I want you to feel comfortable being like this with me. It changed the entire, it almost felt like before Shane and Ilya before this moment and Shane and Ilya after this moment.
Yeah, I agree. This scene, I remember when I first watched it, and I had such a like preconceived idea of like what it should be based off of the book and based off of how I interpreted that scene. And I remember having like mixed feelings about like a couple of little things that didn't happen that happens in the book, which really was the separation that I felt in the book. I felt like they were on two islands until they come together. But what
Mm,
Jacob did that was so beautiful is that they are instantly united and
mm,
become each other's emotional crutch in that moment. Um, Much like Rose did for Shane earlier when she allowed him to come out and she was his emotional crutch. Shane is really there, and it's through his bravery of expressing to Ilya that I'm gay and saying those words out loud to someone. Um, and Ilya in the books are when he finds out that Shane is gay, they're on opposite sides of the room. And the fact that Jacob made sure
mhm.
that they were joined and connected to like emphasize the through line of their connection throughout the whole season was so beautiful.
Yeah.
And such a change that I think was so necessary. And to your point, like when he gets into his lap and he's soothing him, and Ilya cries for the first time. That's also something that doesn't happen in the book. He doesn't cry then.
No, he doesn't.
And that Shane tells him the one thing that made him feel better when Rose said it, which is, it's okay. You
Mhm.
can cry, which is why it's my tattoo, because like we're all okay, guys. But it's just it's such a beautiful scene. It's so well written, it's so well acted. Um,
Mhm.
and it
Mhm.
really does force them to confront this thing that they, can't run from anymore. Like we're at a point in our lives where this is too strong of a connection for us to deny it. And they don't have all the answers. They don't know what it's going to look like. They just know that they are connected and intertwined in each other's lives, and that's not going to change.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah, such a pivotal moment to get to the cottage.
It's so pivotal, and I went back and read some of Heated Rivalry and the inner monologue of Ilya, like at the beginning when he's waiting for Shane, he's so nervous. He's just like, I don't know what, because we didn't see it on screen, but in the book, Ilya knows that Shane wants to come to his room to talk about something, and he's like, I don't know what he wants to talk about,
Yeah.
but he's like very nervous, and it's interesting to see that opposite dynamic because the other times when they're meeting in hotel rooms, Ilya's the one asking for the hotel room. Ilya's the one who's kind of in control, and you could see it from the moment that we're meeting Ilya in his room, that he's kind of like, I'm pretty much going to do and follow what Shane wants to do in this scene. And he had no idea that it was even going to, get to the level that it did. But I
Right.
agree with you. I really loved the visual dynamics of like,
Mm-hmm.
Ilya, because he was going to deny the fact that there is a connection, deny the fact that that this is simple for me. Like this is like we just
Boy,
get together. And
shut
I'm like,
up.
you were just touching my thumb,
Shut
but
up.
okay, babe. Sure. And then also, trying to keep that distance to protect himself. That I love that we saw that physically. And then when he realized that, like, wait, I'm you know breaking Shane's heart in a way that Shane is like, I as funny as the scene was where Ilya's like, "Oh, what makes you think you're gay?" kind of thing.
Yeah.
It really like at the same time, it's like you feel for Shane because this
It's a
is
big
the first
moment.
time he's actually
This is a
saying
big
this out
moment.
loud, and he's like, "I'm coming to you and being vulnerable, and you're mocking me in this way." And Shane or Ilya realized that immediately, and then closes that gap, and it's like, "Why are you telling
Mm-hmm.
me?" And like, "What is this?" And I just think the beats that got us to the moment of them, the rocking,
Oh, the
which
rocking.
physically reminds me of like when you're a baby and you're in a
Soothing.
rocking chair and your
Yeah.
mom or whoever is trying to soothe you. It's like Ilya needed that moment. And I
Mm-hmm.
just love that Shane has always, and in this scene particularly, was just brave enough to have that happen. Like I just
And
Shane
And
is
to your point, has always shown up for Ilya, because the thing with Ilya is he's never going to ask Shane for anything because
mhm,
he feels like he's too much. He feels like he's undeserving. Um,
mhm,
and
mhm.
Shane is not given enough credit for, providing what Ilya needs and being what he needs, because he
Yeah.
was that in that moment. And this is also Shane's moment too. Like, Shane is coming out to someone who he has had a relationship with, arguably one of the most important people in his life. This is also his moment.
Hmm.
But he,
Yeah.
couches that because he needs to soothe Ilya in that moment.
Yeah.
And I think that's beautiful. That's just a beautiful act of love.
It's really
It's a beautiful
it,
act of love.
it's just such a I will
We
forever
love that
adore that
scene.
scene. And I just have to mention at the end, because I know we've talked about the scene a lot, but the end of it after, because obviously Jacob made a decision in episode 5 to not show us anything sexually, which I actually think was like the perfect decision.
Yeah.
But in this moment where afterwards where like Shane is leaving and then Ilya's just like staring at him and like nothing, and does the like good night Shane and good night Ilya of it all.
Mm-hmm.
Um I just think it's like the perfect, I don't know, like I get the Shane and the Ilya and it's like a continuation of what happened in episode 4, but I just think to see at the end where Ilya is just kind of like, I'm fucked.
Oh, fuck.
Like, I,
Mm-hmm.
like, I've
Which,
never done this with anyone. And like, here we are. And I'm never going to come back from this. And I'm so in love with this man. And like,
yeah.
I don't know what
Yeah.
to do with it.
What I don't know what to do with it. From the Russian monologue.
I
Which
know. I
Connor plays
know.
so well, and like you will see glimpses of it even in episode 6 of the like I'm fucked, because also when you finally get everything you want, you can lose it.
Mm-hmm.
Which is always the fear.
Oh
So
boy. Well, we'll get there. Okay. But Tyra, you have the honor of telling us what our first number one is. It should be obvious, right? But maybe
is it?
not
Hang on,
to
guys.
people. Maybe not. I think it should be. But what is our number one? What is
You
the
know the
scene that
thing,
got us to
it
the
should be
cottage?
obvious, but it wasn't so obvious to us when we were creating this list. I don't think, Nicole. I mean, we
Yeah, I
had
guess
it. I don't
not.
know. I don't know if it was a number one automatically. When we thought about it, it kind of was like, this is monumental. It has to be. But we had
Well,
a lot of thoughts. We had a lot of thoughts.
yeah. I remember I sent you a voice note maybe after we made the list, and I was like, "But should this be number one? Should we already state that this is obviously number one, and then we create a new number one?" And you were like, "No."
No, it kind of has to.
It does. It does. No,
It kind of
and
has to.
it does. So what is it? What is it? What's our number
So
one?
coming in at the number one spot, we have the infamous kiss on the ice between Scott and Kip, the game changers. They changed the game for Shane and
The
Ilya.
game
It
changers.
has one of the greatest like slow pan shots from right to left of Shane and Ilya. Like that moment as Kip
Mm-mm.
is coming down very slowly, mind you, to the
Kip.
ice. Girl,
I
I'm gonna
mean,
let you get
Kip.
to it. I'm gonna let you get to it.
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
gonna
Well,
let you get to it.
you know
Well,
me. I'm like,
I know how you feel. Nicole has thoughts, guys, about Kip, but I'm gonna let you get to it. But as he's coming down to that ice, and there's so many beautiful things that happen. I love how Francois played it. The like you could see in his
mm-hmm,
body him just gearing up and like pumping himself up to ask Kip to come down on the
mm-hmm,
ice with him because
mm-hmm.
he knows what it's going to mean. But once again, love is going to prevail. And
Period. Period.
period. And when we see that kiss, the beautiful shots, like Jacob and Jackson, like the cinematographer, such a beautiful shot. That pan of like Shane and Ilya looking on in awe, and Shane's face just says, I can have this. And Ilya's face is pure determination. I will
Yeah.
have this.
Yeah.
Like, this moment is going to be mine.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
That was a moment. That was the moment we knew, guys.
I
That was the moment
mean,
we knew that
here's the
locked
thing.
in.
Locked in. I mean, here's the thing. I want everyone to know I love Kip. Kip is my guy. I love him. I really do.
And that friend
Honestly,
group
that
Kip
friend group,
has, he
I
can't be
am
bad. He
jealous.
can't be bad.
And
Yeah,
we will get
same.
to that in a later episode because we love Kip and his friend group. But I will say
Yeah.
this. I need Kip to speed up. I literally was watching, and I think it's probably part of my Aries sun. It's Aries season, so I will say that. I was like, can you hurry it up? Like, oh my God, it was so slow, but also I felt like, okay, if I'm Jacob and I just love fan edits, I was like, we actually need it, the music to hit how it hit.
We did.
But,
We did. But
But-
he took his sweet time. The way that
no, Tyra.
he took
Tyra.
his sweet time.
Tyra.
Nicole.
But you know what? I will say, listen, that aside, to be very serious, back to what you were saying about Francois. The thing that I loved, there's a moment in my head, because I've told you this, I actually can't watch this scene without crying. I've watched it like 40 times, and every time I'm looking out the window like, why does this scene still hit? Like
Cocaine, yeah.
I actually have never seen a scene of television that has hit me in this way. Every time. Like, normally by like the 40th, I'm like, okay, I'm just passively watching, but oh my God. Okay, but anyway.
Yeah.
Francois, when he looks around the ice and sees all the families and friends, and of course his both of his parents have passed tragically, and you see him as an actor seeing this and being like, I want that, and I actually can have that.
I have that.
And the man that I could have that with is in the stands, and you
still
can see
supporting
him
you after you guys broke up. Still supporting you
with his dad and his
best friend. These men won't even plan a date. But I'm sorry, continue.
Well, I'm just saying. I think as an actor, as an actor, but okay.
She's an actor. She's an actor.
Okay,
guys.
no, stop. I'm taking like
you can't edit that
acting.
out, Nicole, either.
Yeah, thank you. But seeing this as an actor, oh my God. Okay, seeing him as an actor.
Mm-hmm.
Clock what's going on, that he just had the biggest moment of his hockey career. He'd wanted this forever. He has it, and it still is not enough. And he knows that the one thing that could make this enough is in the stands, and this would be the biggest moment of his life. And I just love that you can see Francois, at least internally as an actor, processing all of that and then deciding that, like, I'm going
in that moment,
to do
like
this.
that, like a split second decision, right? It happens relatively quickly, and you can see the resoluteness on his face. Like, it fuck whatever's gonna happen. I can no longer afford to be scared about this thing that I want so badly, and this person that I love, and building a life that I want to have. And me and Nicole, we used to love One Tree Hill, and there is but there is a line that I like love on there, and it's like, who do you want standing with you at the end when all your dreams come true?
And guess who? And
we're not going to talk about that, Nicole. I object, Your Honor.
Okay, girl. Well, I'm just saying
I know. I know.
It the latent T.
It is the latent T, and they ate with that line. They ate with that line, and that is what I felt in that moment. I'm like, you have reached the pinnacle. You've made everyone proud. Your family would be so proud. Your team, you've made yourself proud. But who do you want standing with you when this dream has come true? Because it doesn't mean as much. It's Kip. It's Kip.
And you know what?
And that man shuffled himself down there on that ice.
Kip deserved it. And there is a part of Kip, I understand why he was so slow. Because I think for me, if I were in those stands, I would be like, there's no way that this man who was very...
Hands like this.
Well, and there's no way this man who was very outwardly closeted and told me that and said he's not ever going to come out until after he... retires and still wants to be with me. There's no way that in the biggest moment, not only in his life, but in the year of hockey, like the Stanley Cup or whatever they call it on the show, that he's asking me to come down. And I don't even like, I mean, you know this when you read The Long Game or some other of the Game Changer books, is that Scott was making that decision for him. He wasn't making it to be the game changer, right? And
Yeah.
he notices later when he's talking, I mean, spoilers if you haven't read The Long Game, but like The Long Game, when he's talking to Ilya and Shane, and Ilya's basically like, "You're the reason why we're here in the first
Mm-hmm.
place," and Scott is shocked. He's like, "Wow, I didn't know that like I was making that big of a difference in that
Yeah.
way." And so I personally think, I know, like, obviously we said number 5, Ilya's father, Seth, cut the ties from Russia, but I think this scene cut Ilya's ties from what he thought his life could and had to be. Like,
Mm-hmm.
without this moment on the ice, that just, like, the cottage is not happening, period. For Shane, I think it was happening, right? Like, Shane
Yeah.
wanted it to happen, but for Ilya particularly, this moment mattered most, and we would not have the cottage or anything after that without Scott
Right.
and Kit.
Right.
Period.
Right. Right. Because there also is a case to be made about Ilya. The fear of that is just his own personal fear of like being out, but
Yeah.
also what are the repercussions that Shane would face?
Yeah. Yeah.
And e- especially how Shane is viewed in the league. Like Shane is the it boy, the golden boy.
Mhm.
And what would this do? Because I've always felt, and like this is in the books, Ilya does not really feel shame about being bisexual. That is not something that he
Mm-mm.
feels. It's the world's opinion of it, right? Um,
Mhm.
which really brings in a feel, and also his own trauma and issues that he faced. But yeah, when he
Yeah.
sees this, when he sees like hope like in your eyes, like hope right there on screen, like it's something
Mhm.
tangible,
Mhm.
it's a complete game changer. Da 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 da. Um,
Okay.
yeah, it's
I
it's
mean,
it's
okay,
great.
so wait, we've got our top 5. But
We've got our
as
top
as
five.
as as you mentioned, Tyra, at the beginning, this was a hard list, and so we do each have an honorable mention, right? We're gonna do that
We
every episode. What was the one scene or moment that we wish kind of made our own top 5 if we were to doing it?
okay. So what's your honorable mention, Nicole? What is the one you have?
Ugh,
Because it's
I
hard for
have
me.
a I have a few, but if I'm there was one, you know what's so funny? As I was talking, I was like, dang, there was one and I didn't write it down and now I forget. But the
Hmm.
one that I remember is the commercial scene. I just think in general, Ilya being very upfront with Shane on like, the only reason we're both here filming this like random commercial is because I made this happen
Yeah.
because I'm interested in you. And
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
Shane needed that being said, like, very much, like, explicitly to his face. And you could see Shane almost being like, wait, what?
When they tell you you do commercial with me and not just alone?
I don't know, like 2 days ago? Why? When did they tell you?
No, they tell me nothing. It was my idea.
Obviously, that wasn't in the book. And so I think Jacob having that be a moment that we see in the show, it's like, oh, wait, Ilya's interested in me. Or like there's something there. And then that leads obviously to the shower scene where
Hmm.
things go down. And
Have two men ever looked that good? No.
um
No,
I
they
I
haven't.
I have to say no. But then also Shane being all of us, where Ilya's like, "What's your number?" And he's like, 1410. Like, just quick. And I was like, "Mhm. Yeah, 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 yeah." See, we needed all that to happen in order for us to get to the cottage in a way that's like, I think the random flirting or banter would have continued, but in terms of like this like sexual
Yeah.
tension or like intimacy, it wouldn't have actually gone there if Ilya wasn't just like, let me just take a chance here and like
Yeah.
act on what I think is
So
happening.
mine is like not far off from that, but I think mine would be the first night that they spend together at Shane's house after the game in Montreal. That coupled with the subsequent,
Wait,
like,
which one?
the first time that they spend the night together, that they have sex, that they have penetrative sex
Oh, they have sex.
at
Sorry, you said spend
at
the
the
night,
house.
and I was like, what scene is this?
I mean,
Sorry,
it's a figure of
the
speech,
scene.
girl.
Got it. The scene.
And I think,
Okay,
and
cool,
I
cool,
think,
cool,
and
cool,
I think subsequently, like the 2 year chasing his ass like the Navy leading up to that, on Ilya's
That's
part. But I do
insane.
think,
That's insane.
girl, but I do
That's
think
insane.
that just opened a door of intimacy that once it was open, there was no way could ever be closed. So much so that a forehead kiss had this grown ass, like 21-year-old man fleeing like as quick as he could because he's like, feelings, what are that? Can't do that right now. After they just had the greatest night of their lives, but it opened that door where there was no turning back. Like, maybe a couple hookups you can move on and you can say, chalk that up and I'm not really going to think about it. That night in particular, it was a wrap after that. We are locked the fuck in, never for it to
and I
turn.
think it also, in the book, it was like Ilya until the cottage had never really been in Shane's real space. And so I thought it was interesting to your point that in the show that like he's seeing Shane's intimate actual place where he lives in Montreal like pretty quickly. But then also, there's like that means there's a level of intimacy there that like maybe Ilya wasn't prepared or ready for.
Yeah.
Okay. We did it.
We did it. I'm proud of us, y'all. Y'all don't know. This is a long time in the making.
And I'm also just like, this list alone could have been 15 scenes long.
For sure. I mean, we did a list that was like 20 scenes long. We had a lot. But
we did.
I will say that this was the easiest list. Like, we've done other lists of future episodes that we're gonna do. This surprisingly was the easiest one for us. It's only gonna get harder for us. And we, had a little debates behind the scenes, but this one, pretty solid.
Pretty easy.
Yeah.
I feel good about it. But if you watch this and think our list is stupid or we missed one or you would reorder, let us know because our favorite thing is to debate this show and talk about it. Truly.
Truly. And we want to know everyone's top 5 list and we want to know the why. Don't just tell us like, why are these your top 5? It's really exciting.
Please let us know. But until our next top 5 list, I'm Nicole.
I'm Tyra. And we'll see you next
later.
time. Bye.
Bye-bye.